Thank you very much. I feel like cheating because everybody have been talking about complex manuscript, shorthand, and I'm going to talk about printed material. So I'm sorry. So the idea is of us using a smart model in my digital publication workflow. The problem when you use OCR is that usually you are missing a lot of features from the page. So what you can do in neural transcription is that you can decide, for instance, to expand the abbreviation or normalize, in my case, U and V for Old Italian, because it's a lot faster to substitute all the small v with U than put them back. So those were the idea that I had on the training workit. Right now, it's also possible, I'm just promoting, to train abbreviation tags, not just expansion, from the box. So this is the tick that you need to open very low in the training screen when you are setting your settings. But so now it is also possible to actually train not just the expansion, but the original glyph with the expanded version. But this creates some doubt because depending on the output that you're going to create, you might need to tag with the expansion the full word or just the letter and the glyph that you need to be expanded. So this is up for discussion, not a very clear solution, but clearly sometimes you can actually have the proper expansion. Sometimes it's just one letter. We love very condensed Latin. We only have one letter and it will say everything, but you know that philological transcription would call to separate the annotated letters. There are other cases that are not covered by normal transcription. OCR might be trained to recognize italics and bold. I don't know how many have tried to test this kind of training because I did. And after probably 10 pages in EBI, I decided I would manually mark them after. But what is nice is that they are clearly visible in the image. And we know that HTR is based on the image, not on the content. So if we could kind of reverse the process of tagging, since we already have the rendition, can we ask the machine to plot out the rendition that are missing? So the first idea could be to use standard tags like the angular brackets with HTML tags, but for training, I discovered that it could be a bit easier to use symbols that are not present in the text. Clearly, I'm talking about documents that are planned for post-processing, not something that you're going to display on a site. At least you need to do a global search and replace before you put them on your sites. But the idea is that if I could find a couple of symbols, and I mean really a couple of them because I wanted to have an opening and a closing before every information like bold, italic, small caps, and superscript, I could have some kind of trained data, and it works. At least on print, you don't need that much content, and it then is applied to the subsequent pages. So in my case, I had about 2,000 pages, so manually tagging 60 pages was very worth it. You need to be a bit cautious about it because in text recognition, you break every line. So when you are tagging your neural element, so the meta tagging, you need to repeat it at every line. So if you have like an italics that is going through several lines, for each of them, you need to open and close the tagging. But it can be done. It just needs a few good ground truth for the basic text. You add the missing glyph pretty quickly. I have my list of personal. As you can see, I am an historian, architecture historian, so I don't have mathematics in my documents most of the time. So I could easily use something that was at the same time valid Unicode, easily handleable, ready to use in couples. And through this, we have, now I start talking in plural because for the people that were in the workshop, they know that my colleague from Zurich, Reto Baumgarten, did most of the transformation work. We have a GitHub project that is ready for you. It's also reusing the very famous page to TI code by Dario Kamkaskar, so that you can, in a few steps, decide how to re-encode everything in a TI document, removing my smart tags and substituting them with something that has a meaning inside a TI document. So just for you, this is how the transformation happens behind the scenes, but that's all from me. There are more things, but unfortunately, I had planned this as an introduction to the workshop, which already happened. So feel free to ask me. Thank you.
There must be questions for this. And if you don't dare to ask them now, you can also spot Elisa with the posters later on. So who would like to take the mic?
And how often was it the case that it doesn't work out, that the HDR recognized both symbols, only one, for example, so that you have this artifact?
It happened for me with small caps a lot, but that was because my small cap in the first 20 to 30 pages were Roman numbers for volumes in the bibliography. And then I needed a full transcription of elements. And I suddenly started to have new letters to throw in. So the problem is that you need to have at least one group starting with the same letter at least once in your frame set, probably more than once, so that you have opening and closing. But usually since it's very fast to run through everything, you just see where it's broken and go there and correct your workflow. Because since it's output from the zip from Transkribus, transformation, TI publisher, and you already see what happened. It's pretty straightforward to see the problems.
Oh, not so fast. Maybe some other people want to ask questions. So if I understood correctly, you also published an article in Italian on this. So if people want to cite you, could you please mention where you published this? Or approach her later on and ask for the reference?
I think that most people already asking me everything during the workshop, so that's why I don't have many questions. It was published in the IUCD conference last year, so it's open source and you can grab it. Unfortunately, in Italian, use often. ChatGPT, something.